Beowulf. Sounds like what I say when I'm throwing up after I come from the bar at night. Beowulf.
Man, he totally Beowulfed all over the kitchen. It was disgusting.
Exactly. But, look, I have some criticism about this movie, but and I don't know how I would feel about this movie if I didn't see it in 3D, but watching it in 3D, that shit is badass, man.
It's about the most impressive 3D I've ever seen. I actually ducked.
Oh, yeah. There were points where I was like moving my head like I was on a roller coaster. I was boxing or something, you know? I mean, what you looking at me like you're crazy? What do you think?
I'm not looking at you.
You're just looking at me anyway.
I'm just looking at you. You're right across from me. You're like sitting like 5 feet from me. And what you looking at me for, Whitey? Stop looking at me. You're checking out my package.
Scoot back and say that.
Why are you looking at me, Whitey? What are you checking out my black package?
See, this is why we can't hang out with black people, because you just keep keeping us from looking at you.
Well, Leon's not here, and I'm all paranoid because I'm surrounded by white people now. So.
Yeah, 2 of us. There's 2 of us, and we have you surrounded.
That's true. Historically, that hasn't worked out well for black people.
Exactly. Historically, that's an invasion.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have brought the rope and the cross inside.
Okay, all right. Now, Beowulf. Speaking of white people,
right? Speaking of old white people,
the whitest movie there is.
Oh, it is, man, because this is an old Nordic tale. Now, a lot of you smart people out there, depending on how smart you are, you might have read this poem in either high school or college. And for those of you who are familiar with this, for those of you who aren't, rather. Beowulf is this big Nordic hero. He might as well be a god in a way.
He's Thor without like a magic hammer.
Exactly. Yeah. He comes in to help this king slay this beast that is threatening his kingdom, and the beast is Grendel. So when Beowulf comes in and kills Grendel, everybody starts to get merry again. They think it's okay. Everything's cool. Let's get drunk and fuck some whores. But all of a sudden, there's a bigger threat that's out there. And for this movie, at least, I think it was different in the point, but for this movie, they got to deal with Grendel's big old badass mama.
Now, not only is it different, dude, it's not Beowulf. I mean, this movie, if you're going into this going, oh, I love Beowulf, it's my favorite epic poem of all time, you're going to be kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
However, if you're like the rest of us in which you've read Beowulf and you're like, you know what, that's the epic I don't remember very well because it's not really the best of the epics. It just isn't. You know, there are much better epics out there. I mean, Gilgamesh, the Iliad, the Odyssey, you know, take your pick. This one isn't one of the best, but it's one of those we study because it's the one great Middle English story.
Well, it's epic, but I mean, if you like me, you just read it and be like, okay, I read it. I don't give a shit no more.
So what did they do? They took Neil Gaiman, one of the greatest fantasy writers of our time.
He wrote Sandman and
and now he's written a lot. He's written Sandman. He's written books. He is a great writer on the page. Everything he's done for film has kind of faltered. So what they did is they put him with one of the greatest cinematic wingmen of all time, Roger Avery. Now this is the guy who co-wrote Pulp Fiction and got a story by credit because Quentin's a bit of a douche that way, and because he wrote half of the script and got a story by.
Yeah,
he's won an Oscar for that. All of Quentin's best work went through Roger Avery first.
I agree, totally.
Now, Roger Avery on his own has made really good stuff. I mean, he made Rules of Attraction.
Which is very underappreciated.
Yeah, which I'm not going to talk about. But okay, cut and print. But he's done good stuff, but nothing has ever really caught on. So they put these two guys together. And they've made a really great script.
And it plays to what Gaiman's so famous anyway. He takes myths that already exist, but that are kind of like lesser ones, you know, the like personal assistants to the bigger myths. And he just blows them up and gives them their own story, or he takes those stories and expands them and makes them seem even more human. And that's what he's doing here. He's taking the bits and pieces of Beowulf that we have left today, you know, which even so, who knows what the original story was like? It's a campfire story, right? Mm-hmm. He takes that and he breathes so much life into it. And it seems appropriate that's in 3D because the thing, not only is the story popping out at you, but so are the visuals, and really impressively. I mean, okay, this is the Polar Express people, so be ready. The people do still kind of have that corpsey thing going on about them.
That's true.
It's still there. They're getting better. They are getting better. They're just not quite there yet. But everything else is so amazing. There's a dragon in this movie. Fuck Lord of the Rings. This is the most amazing dragon you have ever seen. And the most amazing dragon battle you've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I have to say that that look, yeah, people gonna go in that touting this movie as completely 3D no, I'm sorry, completely CGI animated, and it's PG-13, which they're trying to lead you to think like, oh shit, they have finally mastered it, where they can just get rid of actors and put people in movies. And no, this ain't it. Let me just say, this is probably the best looking puppet show I've ever seen, because that's what it looks like. There are points where they just move too mechanically. They don't have the smooth movements down, but they're pretty damn close. That Anthony Hopkins character,
Yeah.
There were moments where I was like, now you shouldn't bring Anthony Hopkins in here when they couldn't do CG and they just telling us to the CG.
They spent more time on some of the bigger characters, clearly. For some reason, the princess character is the one I'm like, she's not even that good looking. I don't really see what the big deal is. She really, I mean, is one of the,
She was just an ugly chick, that's all.
I've seen some
bad
hentai
CGI
that was more realistic than her, but.
Well, the thing is they based, this was based entirely on who the people were.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, what they did is they just de-aged Robin Wright Penn, and she didn't quite look exactly like she did in CG as she did 20 years ago in The Princess Bride.
But
Sure.
I still think she's hot today. I'm just looking at pictures of
Well,
her
come
the
on,
other day.
dude, you dig old women.
You've
Got a thing for the aged poon.
It's got a thing for anything with a poon, okay? It has nothing to do with age.
I'll take one of these CGI bitches, and I would. Okay, here's a funny thing though. Everybody's kind of close to who they are. They probably made the CGI characters less flattering than the actors, except for Beowulf himself.
Well, yeah.
Now, who's the actor?
Ray Winstone, who's fat.
Yeah, I would have been mad as hell. I would have been like, "Damn, I want to look like that."
Right.
Ray Winstone ain't no handsome guy. He's a good guy.
He's got a great voice. Perfect for the character.
Oh, great, yeah.
You forget that in real life he's that dude from Sexy Beast, not the Sexy Beast guy, the unsexy Beast dude. Because he ain't sexy.
No,
he looks like your dad.
Yeah, Ray Winstone looked like he just walked his ass out of a buffet. You know what I mean? He don't look none like Beowulf. But I will tell you this, Beowulf, women and yes, gay men, you're going to love this movie because Beowulf likes to fight naked. And when Beowulf came when he came onto the screen and he took his clothes off, I mean, this is basically a cartoon character. And bitches, when the audience talk about, woo!
That leads to my one real honest complaint about the film. There's one sequence in this film where it's one gigantic dick joke. I mean, they play hide the sausage for 5 minutes where it's how many items can we use to obscure his wang?
But it worked for me. I know what you're saying, and it was intentionally funny.
I
The
know.
whole thing was a building joke.
But it was too distracting during a sequence that it shouldn't have been distracting. He was fighting Grendel, for Christ's sake.
And it was an amazing
And it was an
action scene.
amazing fight scene, and that's where we should have been. We should not have thought that we were watching Austin Powers, the animated picture.
Yeah, see, that's another complaint of mine in the movie. It wasn't so much that it was played up for comedy, because that did kind of annoy me. But it goes back to Eastern Promises. Why you gonna fight naked? I mean, that's something, but your nuts are gonna get hit and you're gonna lose.
Okay, if this had been Xena, the animated feature, and she was fighting naked, you would not be complaining at all.
Cause Xena don't have no nuts, that's why.
What?
I disagree.
All right, I think we can prove
That
otherwise.
woman has
I've
bigger
never-
balls than any of us in this room.
Well, shit,
Yeah.
she's got like 8 or 9 hanging off her keychain.
Yeah, okay. I've never flipped Lucy Lawless over and checked her out, but I'm willing to bet that, even if she does have them, they're kind of tucked in there. When I think of Beowulf, that motherfucker's got balls like hanging down to his ankles probably because he's
That's
such
true.
a man.
He needs a wheelbarrow to pull those things in the room.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you can't fight Grendel with your nuts hanging out.
Well, he is a cartoon character still. Maybe
Okay.
he's one of those guys with huge wang but tiny balls. Who knows? Maybe he lost them in a fight with some other big monster.
And that's his secret weapon. He's
You know?
smooth like
he
a Barbie
comes
doll.
in the room all badass and tough, and they goes, "Hey, how's it going?"
But my